What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. In this video we are talking about 5 Nintendo games that should be remade for the Nintendo Switch. So if you like games, consoles, or product reviews, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. With that being said, let's hop into it. Okay, so in this video I have 5 games that I think should be remade for the Nintendo Switch. Now I have an NES, an SNES, a Nintendo 64 game, a Game Boy game, and a Nintendo Gamecube game. These are all games that I think are extremely fun. I love each and every one of these, and I think you probably did too. Now, it was very hard to kind of pick and choose one or the other for each console, so I kind of sat back and said, what games do I think would work well on the Nintendo Switch? Whether it's some of those old 8-bit games or moving to the future with like a 64 game or a GameCube game. So with that being said, I want to talk about all of these because I'm very excited. So let's start with the NES game and work all our way down to the GameCube and figure out what games I think should be remade on the Nintendo Switch. Let's start off with the NES game, and the NES game that I have chosen that I think needs to be remade for the Nintendo Switch is Blades of Steel. Now, I've talked about this game a few times, and it's actually the theme song for the intro, and I absolutely love this game. I think the Nintendo Switch is lacking in sports games, especially when it comes to hockey games. There's only like 1 or 2 Nintendo Switch games that are hockey related, and honestly, I would love to see a game like Blades of Steel be remade and come to the Nintendo Switch. Now, does it have to be a remaster or just the original remake? That is up to the creators, but I think Blades of Steel, however it is or however it comes about, needs to be on the Nintendo Switch because honestly, this is one of those games that's an awesome retro style sports game that people love to play, and I think that it could be done cheap and could end up making a bunch of money. So that's why I think Blades of Steel should be on the Nintendo Switch, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised we don't have something like this on the Switch already. Now, we have the 8-bit Nintendo NES online, but we don't have anything like Blades of Steel when it actually comes to the Nintendo Switch. So I think a hockey game like this would be very fun, and I would play the crap out of it. So that is why Blades of Steel is my first choice when it comes to NES games that need to be remade for the Nintendo Switch. Going down the line, we've started at the NES and now we've made it to the Game Boy. So I wanted to talk about Super Mario Land. Now, there are a ton of Mario games and some of them are on the Nintendo Switch with the SNES and the NES Online. But I wanted to talk about something that I absolutely loved. I adore this game. I played this so much when I was a kid. And so I think that is why I have decided to put this on there. I think Nintendo could probably remake this or put this on the Switch somehow. If they make like a Game Boy Online, that would be even cooler. But I would love to see Super Mario Land just because it takes me back to those nostalgia days and hits me hard because this was the very first Game Boy game that I got and I played so much of it and I loved it so much, and I think that is why I think this needs to be on the system. But I think this is a great game and I am very stoked about it. So that is why I decided to pick Super Mario Land for this because this is a great game, and I think out of the Mario games, I feel like this one is probably least or one of the lesser ones that are like remade by Nintendo. So I think this is one that I would absolutely love to see on the Nintendo Switch, and that would be so awesome. Okay, so this next game we're going to talk about is for the SNES, and honestly, this is a game that you probably aren't expecting, but I think this is a game that is very fun and people love to play it, and that is The Lost Vikings. Now, this is a game that is very weird and wacky, but it excels at everything that it does. Now you have 3 different Vikings that you have to get to the end of each level to progress, and if one of them dies, you can keep going, but it doesn't really matter because once you get to the end of the level, you have to restart it because you have to have all 3 Vikings, which is a hard thing to do, but it's very awesome because it challenges you to think more and figure out how to get all of those Vikings to the end of the level. Well, this has amazing graphics, and the first time I played it, I remember thinking about, wow, this has really good graphics, and the colors pop out and stand out, and that is something that I love about this game. I think this is a game that would work well on the Nintendo Switch solely because it is bright, vibrant, and different. Now, the Nintendo Switch has a ton of indie games, and I think this is one that would be kind of considered an indie game if something like this was released on the Nintendo Switch right now. Like, people would flock to it because The Lost Vikings, it's weird, it's wacky, but each character has their own skill set, and I think it makes the game better that way. Now, this is one of those games that I think if you haven't tried it, you definitely should. Whether we get The Lost Vikings or The Lost Vikings 2, I think the first one would be better, but if we're gonna get the second one, we might as well get both of them, am I right? But The Lost Vikings is a game that I think needs to be on the Nintendo Switch because it's that retro flair and feel that people would flock to, and I think it was a game that they could remake and do really well with. Okay, so this time we are talking about the Nintendo 64, and back here down behind me is actually where I keep my collection of 64 games. So I wanted to talk about one game in particular, and this is actually a game that I've recently beat with my wife and had so much fun playing it, and that is Pokemon Snap. And this is actually the reason that made me think about making this video, because I think this on the Nintendo Switch would be absolutely crazy. If you could take that Switch and turn it and take pictures that way, this game would be absolutely insane. Now, this is so much fun in itself, but I'd like to see some cool things changed about it. I'd like to see the graphics be updated because we all know those polygons, I'd like to see the real thing. Also, I want to see the controls be able to be changed from inverted, because honestly, sometimes it's hard for people if they're not used to playing inverted games. And honestly, the first time you pick this up and play it, you're like, the control, oh, okay, I remember now. But like, new people, it's kind of hard for. So I'd like the option to flip back to standard or inverted if you want it. But I actually enjoy this game. I love everything about it, and I think it's a very fun game. And if you're a fan of Pokemon and you've never played this game, you definitely need to be playing this because it's such a fun game. It's relatively cheap on the Nintendo 64, and you could be finding those Pokemon that you never found in the Pokemon in the games because you just were too lazy. This game is so much fun, and it has some weird, wacky things about it that I love, and that is why I decided to add it to this, because I think Pokemon Snap would be a perfect game to grab your Nintendo Switch and head out and stay in your home for right now, I guess. But whenever you're allowed to leave, grab your Nintendo Switch, maybe your Nintendo Switch Lite, and take it on the go and play Pokemon Snap. That would be so much fun. So that is why I picked this. Okay, so for this last game, we started with the NES, we went to the Game Boy, went to the SNES, went to the Nintendo 64, and now here we are talking about the GameCube. And what do I think? What game do I think needs to be remade for the Nintendo Switch? I'm going with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Now, here's a few reasons. First off, the Wii U, we didn't get a Paper Mario game till the very end of the lifespan of it, and honestly, I don't know if we're gonna get another Paper Mario here soon. So what would be even better? Bringing this game over to the Nintendo Switch. Any Paper Mario game is awesome, and I love it. I love the artwork. The Paper Mario theme and idea is just great, and I love the way it works and it looks. Now, these are usually cuter games, but that's okay. I have so much fun playing these games, and I think definitely you should be able to play this, especially if you don't have a GameCube. If you were able to take this and pick it up for maybe 20 bucks on the Nintendo eShop, I think that would be perfect for this game, and that is why I wanted to talk about this. Paper Mario is such a fun game, and it looks so great, and the platforming is so much fun that I think this definitely needs to be added to the Nintendo Switch. If we're getting remakes, we might as well get good remakes, am I right? But this is such a great game, and that is why I decided for the GameCube to kind of veer off from what you probably normally expect. But Paper Mario is one of those games that is still top notch of the GameCube games, and I think definitely it is an awesome game that we should definitely be getting. Okay, so those were games I think we should get as a Nintendo fan on the Nintendo Switch that are remade. Now, I talked about the NES, the Game Boy, the SNES, the Nintendo 64, and the GameCube, which is 5 different consoles, and I picked one game out of each. Now, these are not end-all be-alls, the best games on those systems, but those are games that I would love to see ported over or remade or remastered onto the Nintendo Switch. So I want to know what you think. Comment down below and let me know what game you would pick from each one of those 5 game consoles that I talked about, and tell me why each game you need to be able to play and what is about it is what drew you to it. So I enjoyed making this video. I had to stop and think a little bit. I didn't want to do like the same games that everyone would talk about, and so that's why I kind of ventured out a little bit and did some weird things. So I want to know what you think. Comment down below and let me know. With that being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification because it lets you know when I post more videos, which is every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I want to say thank you one more time so much for watching. Make sure you stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, stay 6 feet away from people, practice social distancing, and be safe, because that really is what matters. So, one last time, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you have a good day.